Hello friends, so welcome again. Today we will be discussing about Ansible. So Ansible is actually a orchestration tool which is used in your IT environment to manage the remote host. So in a layman language, I can say that basically it's a configuration manager, or it is a host from which you can do a certain tasks on your remote machines which are there in your environment. So there are different machine types. It can be a VM machine, or it can be a bare metal machine, or it can be your any laptop machine. So all these machines will be handled by Ansible. So Ansible is a very broad tool, and it has a very good community support as well, right? So basically Ansible uses SSH connection to log into some remote machine and do some configuration changes. So Ansible is today it's widely used by system administrators, and there are certain reasons for that. One reason is Ansible is very easy to deploy, right? It doesn't need any service or any hardcore configuration to deploy Ansible in your environment. It's just a small package you can install on any machine, and then you can start managing your remote systems, or you can do some configuration changes on your local machines as well, right, with Ansible. But that is will not serve your purpose, because you can anyway run any script or any automation tool locally. But there are certain use cases. We will discuss these use cases in this video, right? So this video will be of 30 minutes, and in start we will do some a theory part, and we will make you understand that what Ansible is, and what all the different component Ansible has, a little bit about the community support, and what all modules which are already there, right? So when we talk about Ansible module support, so it's a very vivid module support, and there is a cloud support as well. So almost all cloud technologies are supported by Ansible. So you can say OVF technologies, Oracle, VMware, OpenStack, Azure, Edge Cloud, so AWS, Docker containers. So it has a very good community support. So there are many inbuilt modules which are there, which are already created by Ansible community, which make it very easy to use and deploy, right? For example, you are managing any cloud technology like AWS. So for instance, if I say this module which is already there, AWS S3, so it is used to manage your AWS cloud, right? So there are options. You can just go through the documentation, and just you can start using it. So this is actually a playbook. We will be covering one example of playbook by which I'll be managing a host machine from this machine. So this is my local machine, right? This is my local machine, and it's Ubuntu system, and I'll be starting on VMware machine, and then we will manage this VMware from our environment. Okay, so let me start my VMware or VirtualBox virtual machine. So it's basically any host. I have installed CentOS 7 on it, and it has OpenStack running on it, right? But we will be using this machine as a remote machine, and we will do some configuration changes in that. Okay, so there is no need to stop a video and copy the command. You can just go to our tutorial page. We have put all the files which you need to create, and what all things or what all commands you will be covering in this Ansible tutorial. It is already there, right? So there is no need to go there and pause a video and execute it. You can do this stuff later on, or you can just open your YouTube, and in a half window you can open this blog, and then you can execute. So this blog link is already provided in my YouTube's channel description. You can just go in that, or in case you just need to understand Ansible and you need to execute this project later on, even that is possible, right? So let's start. So so Ansible is as I told you, it's a normal package, right? So even if you are on a CentOS machine, you just need to be connected on the global repository. You just need to install execute this command. You will install Ansible, and Ansible binary will be installed on your system, right? So with the Ansible, as we are using SSH extensively, or I would say Ansible uses SSH extensively inside, so you need SSH pass package as well, as an additional package, so that that is also there, right? So I'm on Ubuntu machine, so all the configuration and everything else is same, so there is no variation in that, in terms of configuration or any other things. The Ansible is same for everything, so only the some of the installation processes are same. So this is a commands for Ubuntu, though it is already installed on my system, but let us see and check. Okay, so I will say apt get install Ansible, right? So make sure that your Ubuntu host is connected to your repository. Okay, so it is saying me that it is already installed and it's a new version. So I will say that I will check if SSH pass is also installed on my system. So yes, it is already installed and it is a newest version, right? So now let's start. So when we when we say Ansible project, so right, Ansible doesn't run as a daemon, right? It is just a set of commands, as you can say. When Ansible is installed, you can check all these commands will be there. So there are different modules which are there. Ansible Vault is there, which is used to store a password in an encrypted manner. This is a small video, so we will be covering the plain text password and username. So but you can also use Ansible Vault, and there is Ansible Pull, and we will be using Ansible Playbook today, right? So Playbook is actually a YAML file in which you can write all your automation stuff and you can just execute it. So mainly in the industry, Ansible Playbook is used, right? So if you want to execute any standalone command on any remote host, so you can simply use Ansible command. Okay, so if you want to do some configuration changes, you can say configuration. Okay, so as I told you, Ansible configuration is different for each project. For example, I'm in a different project, so I have a different environment in my infrastructure, right? Some of the hosts are DB hosts, right, and some different packaging and different patching is required on this, and some of the hosts are Java application host, and so on, and there can be some other host as well. So Ansible will be installed on any one of these machine, or you can deploy it on any standalone machine. So it is a very small package, and even if you have started one Ansible server, it will require anywhere between 1 GB or 2 GB of RAM. So it's very lightweight orchestrator tool. So when we compare it Ansible with the Puppet Chef, so there is no need to run any daemon on the controlling node, right? So all the remote heads, it just uses SSH API and do its stuff, and it comes back and returns your status. So it's very lightweight, right? So what all things which are there on Ansible host? So you can add playbooks, so you can have a host inventory. Host inventory is nothing but all the hosts that we are managing. It is kept in some groups. You can specify username, passwords, etc. So that is a host inventory, and you can run any scripts, tools, packages which you need to copy on these host machines. You can keep that. So all this stuff you will keep on your Ansible server, and rest it will do at his own, right? So let me start with the one project. So I will say mkdir my first project. Okay, so this is, so I can create some other projects as Ansible. So Ansible configuration file will be different for each project, right? So this is my my first project, and in that I will create a Ansible directory. So why I need an Ansible directory? Because it is where my Ansible CFG or an Ansible configuration file for this project is stored. So I will simply say Ansible and Ansible dot conf. Okay, I will write some default configuration in that. So what is Ansible conf? So you need to specify some of the default configurations in your configuration file. For example, a simple host checking key, it's a parameter which is used by SSH, so I have set it to false, right? And some other parameters which are required for SSH connections, for example, no host, null, and control process time. So all these parameters, if you want to change for each project, you can specify that. So this CSV file, it is not mandatory, but by default it gets some value. But if you want to specify some specific things, then you can do it. So I will we have to do SSH connections in our playbook, so we will specify these configuration, right? So let me remove this additional spacing in between. So it has some configuration, and there are some other configuration related things that you can always go to documentation and you can check, right? So we will save this file, right? So our configuration file is ready, so it's created in a Ansible directory. Now when we go here, then it says the host inventory. Now how the Ansible will know that which all servers I need to manage? Okay, so let me see. Okay, my host is up. Okay, so let me do SSH connection on it, and just to verify. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me do SSH to 192.168.0.105. so it's a VirtualBox machine. Okay, so specified password. Okay, so I am logged in this machine. Okay, so it's an OpenStack machine, so this is its IP. So let me create one directory in it. Okay, and we will see that some files are copied in and then it is executed from our example, right? So now I know which is my host. So I just it's a mandatory to create a host file here, so I will create a host file, right? So in the host file we may mention that what all groups we need to manage, right? So I will specify by default my group. Okay, so when I will say groups, so that means that some groups are DB groups, like there are 10 machines which are on which only database is running, Postgres is running, and we want to upgrade the Postgres version, right? So it has nothing to do with this application machine. So you might create a different group for these DB host machines, right? So you need to specify all those host machines in that, and if you are running some Java application, you need to specify all those hosts on which you are have to do patching or some other configuration changes, right? So it's just a grouping. So I will say my group, or I will say my OpenStack. Why should not I mention OpenStack, right? Because it's an OpenStack machine. So there can be some other OpenStack machines also in my environment, so I can mention that. So now I will mention that what all things I need to mention. I will just explain that. So let me copy it from the template. Okay, so now first of all I need to specify the password, right? In my case this host's password is shroot. Okay, so I can just mention that, and I have to specify the IP address. I will explain that. Okay, so I have mentioned that this is my host, and Ansible connection type is SSH. I need SSH to log in from it. You can specify some other as well. You can specify FTP or any other tool, but SSH is secure and it's widely used. So from which user I need to log in, and what is the password of that user. So I have mentioned it, right? So if you have a different host, right, you have a different OpenStack host, so you can mention all those hosts here. You can change its IP. So Ansible will automatically run on all these hosts. Okay, so this is the power of host file. So if you to mention anything, right? So also you can create some other groups as well. So I will create one database group, right? So all my database machines will be a part of a database group. Okay. So I have mentioned some of the machines here, right? But all these machines are not active, so let me delete it from the OpenStack group, right? And here, let the details be here. Okay, so this is a basically a motive of a host file. You can do a grouping of all the nodes you need to manage. Like you have a different categorization. In a diagram you have seen that you have some categorization, like you have 100 machines, some of are on Linux version 6.5, some are 7, so you need to specify, or you need to create a different groups for that, right? So it's a one-time activity, you need to do that. Okay, so let's close our host file. So now my host file is ready and my configuration file is ready. Okay, so now I will start writing. So this is my Ansible file and this is my host file. So these all are ready. So now I will start writing my playbook. Okay, so the playbook is a simple YAML format. Okay, so let me do my tutorial. Okay, I'll say Ansible as well. And it can be a YAML, or you can write YAML. It will take any example, but the point is that the content in this file should be compliant to your YAML, because it understands only the YAML format. Okay. So the first thing I mentioned, it is the host. So host is actually on which group it should run. So I have mentioned it's OpenStack group, right? So it all the things which I will write below that, so it will run in my OpenStack group. So when host start, it tells you that it's a start of your playbook. Okay. So what we will do, we will create one script file here in our directory, and then we will copy that script file on my VMware machine. So this host is my Ubuntu machine and this is CentOS 7 machine. So I will create one script file and I will copy it in this Ansible directory, and then I will execute it and it will do some stuff, right? So with that you will understand that how I can manage my remote machines. So in a command I will execute a script file. You can mention anything. You can install a new RPM, you can create some users, you can do anything. Okay. So for that I have already have one file on my machine. Just to save your time, I have done my first project.yml, so it is already there. So let me copy the content of it. So okay, and I will also explain you what is it, what all things which are there written in there. Okay, so this is my tutorial, and it's simply okay. So host is actually OpenStack, because it was mentioned in my host file that only group needs to be executed. So variables are actually any dynamic variables you need to assign. You can use it within your playbook anytime. So for example, I have to supply this variable to my command line as an argument. I just need to specify this curly braces start, double curly braces off, and I can just write HTTP underscore port. So I'll be able to use this variable inside my script, right? So now we are not using it, it's just written for example, or the previous example I was doing, I used it, so it's right. written like that. Okay, so this is my host, so all the variables which are required. So now this is important that if you have if you the sudo is enabled on your system, so it is saying that you can log in with any user. You can use your name, or you can use any Ramsham, any user, and then you have to become user means you have to do sudo to root, right? So you can log in with any other user and you can do sudo. So become user means which will be the sudo user with which you can execute the command. So that functionality is also there, right? And then there is a module called copy. So these are all my tasks. So when I write a hyphen, so it is a start of my tasks, right? So these two are tasks. So what is the first task? First task is to copy a file. I will create any test file in my environment, right? And then I will copy that file onto my remote machine and then we will execute it, right? So let me write the name of my current directory. So it's tutorial my first project. Okay, so in that I will specify some script file. I will say some script .sh. Okay, so when it will be copied on a remote machine. So on the remote machines we have created Ansible directory, right? We have created one Ansible directory just right now. So copied in Ansible directory and give its permissions to root and give it a execute permission also, right? So that we will be able to execute it, right? So when this file will be copied, all these properties will be applied. So it will copy it will change its own ownership, and then it will change its permissions as well. Okay. So so it is copied in a /Ansible directory. So /Ansible some script .sh. So this command will be executed on a remote machines. So if I have too many machines in my group, OpenStack group, so all these stuff will be executed on all these hosts, right? So it's pretty simple. So for example, I have written 50 servers in my one OpenStack group. So it's very easy. I just need to execute one Ansible playbook and it will do all the stuff on all these 50 machines. Okay. So my machine is ready. So now we have to create this script file. Let us write something in the script file. Okay, I will do so I will say first I will write a bin bash line, and then I will say that you should create a directory in a var opt with the name of Ansible test. Okay, and then you should touch a file in that. So this is just an example. So according to your logic, you can manipulate it. You can write n number of things in your script, or you can just use any Ansible module to do your stuff, right? So in the Ansible test, create a directory called Zombie. Okay, so it will create a directory in that, and then it will touch a file inside this directory. Okay, so let me see if anything is there in my remote machine. Say simply var opt. So var opt is pretty much empty, and this is my Ansible script where my script will be copied, and this is also empty. Okay, so now let's run the script or run our Ansible playbook. Okay, I will say simply Ansible playbook, and then I need to specify the hosts. So what we have written in the host file? A little. So first we have to create a Ansible configuration file, right? In that we have mentioned some SSH configuration things, and then we have created a host file, And the host file, we have created OpenStack machine, which is there, and it is its IP and all the username passwords, right? So this will be executing, so this playbook will be executing on this group. Okay, so how we identify that it is executing in this group? Because we have written YAML file that my hosts are OpenStack, so it will match all the hosts which is written in the host file OpenStack, and then it will execute it. Okay, so first I will say Ansible -playbook, I will say host. Okay, and from from the host, and then I will specify the my YAML, right? So if you want to run it in debug mode, so let us execute it first, and then I will show you that how it is different in a debug mode, or how you can execute in a debug mode. So first I will let me execute this. So let us see if it has some errors, or it has so if you have got any errors, or you are not able to do this examples, you can just leave a comments in your tutorial section, and we will get back to you, and we will provide you a solution to that. Okay, so it is saying task 1 gathering facts is changed, and task 2 is also changed, so that means it has executed the script, right? So my Ansible directory was empty, so let me see. So yes, it has some script with the execute permission. So it has copied this script, and then it has executed in the next step. Okay, so let me go in a var opt. So let me see if it has created a directory. Yes, it has created a directory, and inside a directory it has also created one file. Okay, so this is how you can manage your remote machines. This is the one part. Okay, and now what will happen if I have to do some changes on my local machine only, or my local host only? Then I simply need to specify right. So I need to specify -hosts. Okay, and I will simply say localhost. So now it will not search any host file or group file. It will simply see that what all needs to be executed on the local thing, and it will execute it. Right? Or I have a sample file for that. Let me see. I've created one sample file also. Copy. Yeah, local YAML. So you can specify the local YAML inside your this main playlist. So then it will become a two YAML file, or the two playbooks, right? So when the host starts, it sees for the playbook, and then it is so if I want to run anything local, in that case I don't need to specify any host file, right? So it will do some stuff on the local machine as well. And simply Ansible playbook. Okay, and then I just simply by local.yml. So it is doing just cat of something. Right, so it is saying me that provided list is empty, localhost is available. So now it is searching for any host file, but it's saying the local is a local thing, and it doesn't match with the all, so I'm executing in the local stuff, right? So this is a one thing. Now I was showing you that how I can use a verbose mode if I want to do some interrogation, right? So let me clean this thing, what it has done on the remote host. So I have clean my opt directory, and I have also cleaned my Ansible directory on the OpenStack. So last time, if you have seen that it has not returned me anything, right? So it has simply executed everything, but it has not given me any information, right? So I want information. Sorry. So for that you need a verbose. So if you will spy 1V, that means a debug level 1, 2V is my debug level 2, 3 means debug level 3. So if you need a lot of logging, you need everything, all the libraries it has used, what all command inside it has used, what all functions it has used, so you can specify 3 V's. But if you just need a normal kind of logging, then you can use a simply V. So I will execute in a both way. So let us start with the single V, right? So now you can see that it is giving me something that this is using Ansible CFG inside this. And when it will execute a command, it will not show me much stuff, but it has given me some stuff which was not there in the previous example, right? So it has done me that it's basically it's written in Python, so what all things it has used and what all commands it has executed internally, so it has returned me that, right? So in the same way, if I'll mention 3 verbos, then the debug mode level will increase and you will see a lot of stuff there. See, now it is used at which GCC version it is using, and what is the Python version and all this stuff, and how it has created SSH connection. So it has increased the debug level. See, there is a lot of stuff. So as a developer, yes, you might need all this stuff, but if you are troubleshooting, you can simply use it with 1 or 2 V's, right? So you can see in the debug level 3, so it has returned me so much stuff, and most of the stuff doesn't even matter to me. So this is this was a introductory tutorial of Ansible. So hope you have liked it, and you are able to complete your first Ansible playbook stuff completed, and it is it has helped you in your day-to-day activities. So please subscribe to our channel as well on the YouTube, and you can always leave a comments if you need something else to be covered in our next videos. You can just mention in the drop box in the discussion section, and also if you find any errors on this tutorial or in the videos, you can also leave the comments. Thank you very much.